Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. EQA Nostalgia here, and today I am playing the Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited. This is a game that I've had my eye on for quite a long time. I actually had the beta key for this game when it first was in beta, and I tried to play it, and lo and behold, the toaster just wasn't up to the task. But I kept up with reviews on it, and they were not very favorable reviews. The game really got slammed, and that seemed to be mostly because it wasn't Skyrim Online. And I knew that wasn't going to be the case because I know how MMOs play. I know the way they are. And I just want to stop for 1 second in the middle of this review and just say that when I found out this was John Cleese doing the audio here, I was like, sweet. For those of you who don't know who John Cleese is, he's a legendary actor. He was in the Monty Python Holy Grail. I think he was in other Monty Python movies. I can't remember, but yeah, he's awesome. And as soon as I heard his voice, I knew that was him. So that's like 10 out of 10 right there on the dialogue.
Hold your nose and do mind the traps. There'll like as not be a fair dose of running and skull bashing as well.
So back to what I was saying, I followed it very closely, and it was really disheartening to see the reviews that I got. People just didn't like it. Guys like Angry Joe, they really slammed it. And from what I heard back then, the combat felt really floaty, and there were a lot of things that just weren't well polished, and it seemed like the game hadn't really gone out of beta. And what it looks like they did is they came out and charged for the game monthly, and essentially it was like an extended beta period for the PlayStation 4. And that's, I don't know if that's true, but that's what it seems like they did, and that's kind of shady. That kind of sucks. That really sucks. But it looks like that's what they did. It looks like this is going to do very well on consoles. It feels like it's the kind of game that can play really good with a controller. Like, I would actually prefer to be playing with a controller because the way the combat functions is very action oriented. And this is the first MMO I've actually ever played with an action oriented combat style. I've only played the traditional, World of Warcraft style and EverQuest style of, looking at cooldowns and stuff like that. So this is the first time I've got to feel what that's like in an MMO, and it does feel really good. I like the way they've done that. I did have a little bit of an issue with the camera being a little floaty. Sometimes your mouse just kind of floats off in the last direction that you've pointed it in. It's just something that it takes a little bit of getting used to. But overall, so far, I've been having fun with it. I can't really make this into a first impressions video. This is just the start of a series that I plan on bringing out for the game. Hopefully you guys will be interested in seeing it. I do plan on playing this for quite a while. Now, there are elements of the Elder Scrolls in this, obviously, and not just the aesthetics. You can see you kind of level up by doing things. And it was a little strange the way I noticed a couple of my skills were leveling up when I wasn't using them. I don't know if that was just coincidental. Maybe I didn't notice. Maybe it just took all the accumulated stuff that I had done and gave it to me all at once. I don't know. In offline Elder Scrolls, as you probably are already aware, the more you do something, the more you level it up. And I always liked that. It doesn't feel like too much of a grind. It feels like you're just naturally progressing. So it seems like they're doing something similar to that. But like I said, I haven't played it much to really get my teeth sunk into it. I basically just got out of Cold Harbor and was just standing there in awe looking at how amazing the game looks. And I'm probably actually going to be playing it a little bit more after this commentary and just adding in more commentary, because I'm trying to do this as I go along, but without doing live commentary and losing my train of thought. Whenever I do live commentary, I find there's a lot of pauses in between because I'm reading stuff and thinking, and it just becomes really dull. So back to my point about the dialogue, everything is fully voiced. And some people will just skip through that. After a while they say, oh, it's nice that it's fully voiced, but I just read ahead of it and then skip it, or I just skip it anyway. I'm not going to be doing that. I like that it's fully voiced. I like listening to the people talking. I like to soak in the lore. I think that's really cool. I've been playing the Elder Scrolls since Morrowind, so I've always been a big fan of it. And I just, I always liked the races. I always liked the different things that you could do. This does have classes, which is kind of jarring, but that's the MMO aspect of it. It's not to say that you can't kind of do your own thing, though. I mean, typically the class I'm playing as should have two daggers and should be sneaking around. As you can see, I've got a two-handed greatsword in my hands. So they do let you equip what you want and kind of go off in your own way. But yeah, there are a lot of people who expected this to be Skyrim Online, and I really don't think that's possible. I mean, you might be able to do like a co-op thing, but even that, to me, that wouldn't be the same because the most amazing thing about the Elder Scrolls is that you're the central hero. There's nobody else there to like ruin that sense of immersion. You're put into this world, and everything kind of revolves around you being the hero. And when you even add one other person to that, it takes that away. But it is strange to see people running around in a dungeon, and it kind of breaks the immersion. Like the stuff that you're used to with an offline Elder Scrolls. This, first and foremost, is an MMORPG with an Elder Scrolls skin over it. That's something that people have to accept if they want to enjoy this game. And I've seen people over the years, because like I said, I've been following this very closely. I've seen people over the years that were really hyping this up, saying, "Oh, this is just going to be so amazing because it's going to be like Skyrim Online." And I remember following Shoddycast. If you don't know who they are, they've gotten very popular. They have a lore series, and I highly recommend you watch their lore series. I'm going to put that in the description. But they were very disappointed when the game came out, and they haven't gone back and taken a second look at it now that Tamriel Unlimited is out, and I think that's a mistake. Be careful where you decide to start key binding stuff because, yeah, you can just get knocked around like I just did. Now, you're going to see I messed around with the key bindings, and I started doing like traditional World of Warcraft stuff. I wanted to bind Q as my first ability and E as my second, and didn't think about opening anything. And I'm like, how come this isn't opening? It's not opening. And it didn't even occur to me, dude, you literally just changed it. You can't do both. You can't have your skill and opening doors. So I got to figure out a way to bind the keys because I don't want to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might just buy a nice mouse, like some sort of knockoff of the Naga or something. I don't want to spend like $150 on a fucking mouse. But yeah, so that's something that's a little funny. You'll see me going around going, "Gee, why won't this open?" It was early in the morning and my brain just wasn't functioning properly. Now, I really enjoy the immersiveness of the first-person view, but it's really not viable in combat. When things, when shit gets real, it's not very reliable. It's not something you're going to see somebody going out and fighting a boss with or engaging in PvP with. It's nice to run around the world that way. And you can see right here my battle awareness just isn't there. I should have known that she was standing there. I did not know that Jamora was there and I was being attacked. I'm like, hey, what's going on? But the animations look really good in first person, and the floatiness that was there in the combat, that's not there anymore. I can feel like the weight of my sword when I charge it up and I swing for a heavy attack. You can really feel the combat, and before you couldn't do that, and that was a major issue with this game. That has been addressed. Now, I've always liked the lore, but I've never gone like full nerd into the lore. I do know a lot about it, but there is so much lore in the Elder Scrolls. I mean, I don't even remember how many books were in Skyrim alone. There's literally like thousands of books detailing the lore across this game series. If you're in the lore, you already know all this stuff. You already know the Elder Scrolls Online the Elder Scrolls series has a lot of lore. People have complained about the lore being a little spotty, and so that doesn't bother me really. As long as they don't just completely shit all over everything, I can accept that there's some things that don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. And yes, by the way, this is Dumbledore speaking to me right now.
Safe. There is that at least.
There sacrificed everything that we might go free. Her sacrifice must not be in vain.
So they really spared no expense on the voice actors they got into this. John Cleese, Dumbledore. I don't even know the guy's name who played Dumbledore in Harry Potter, but it's immediately recognizable. They're very good at the dialogue. I don't know if this continues throughout the game or if this is just something they kind of wanted in the beginning to be like, hey, we spent a lot of money on this for you. Check this out. And they're trying to, just impress everybody right away. But it certainly is a nice feature. And yeah, I just keep bringing it up because I was very impressed with the dialogue. Now, when I came up to this point, I really was hoping that I was going to get to fight this giant thing, but that wasn't the case. So I remember I think it was Angry Joe who got really disappointed, I think it was at this point, because he wanted to fight this big guy, and then he ended up just fighting this little dude here. That's something that doesn't really bother me. That it's the beginning of the game. I don't expect to fight like a huge demon or something. I know that Guild Wars 2 has had that kind of stuff in the beginning of the game. You fight like this massive dragon not too far after you start. But that doesn't bother me. I really like the character models. I like the enemy design. If you're a fan of Elder Scrolls, you already know most of the enemies. This guy, he seems to be new for the Elder Scrolls Online. I don't remember seeing anything like him. Now, I have heard complaints from people saying that when you kill enemies, they don't drop hardly anything, and it's really hard to make money in the game. I can't comment on that yet. Like I said, I'm new. And by the way, I haven't even gone over my character. This is my Khajiit. His name is Sticky Paws Max. three names, which is cool. A lot of games don't allow you to do stuff like that, like a first last name and like a surname or anything. I thought that was interesting that they allowed me to do that. But one thing I'll tell you right now, which is a small complaint, a very, very small complaint. This is on a mega server between, I believe it was North America and Europe. It's it's really hard to find a name. If you got a name in your head right now that you want to name your character, and it's anything somewhat common, forget it. You're not going to get that name. It's already been taken. I must have tried like 20 different names. I'm not even joking. I've tried so many names. I tried Fresh Step. I tried Fancy Feast. I tried even Moogles because that's what I named my cat, Moogles. I was like, oh, I'll name him after my kitty. That didn't work. Somebody had taken that. I had the name Mabius that I actually created back during EverQuest Island Adventures in 2003. Mabius. That was taken. A name that I thought I made up on my own. Somebody apparently also thought of it. That was taken. But I suppose that's one of the cons of being in a mega server. There's just so many people picking so many different names. The load times seem to be very fast. I did skip a section of that there, but they seem to be reasonable. It's not really a big deal in between going through doors, mostly, is where I noticed. It's just lightning fast. When I open a door in a dungeon and go into another part of the dungeon, it's just instant. There's like a second or two there. This had to load a little bit because I was going from basically like a dungeon into the main world. But the nostalgia here in this game, it's very real. When I got on this ship, it reminded me so much of Morrowind when you first start out and that Dark Elf is talking to you. It's just really cool. In terms of interacting with the world, it's not as Elder Scrolls-ish. Like, you can't make people wake up and talk to them. At least, from what I experienced on the ship. You can open certain things and take stuff out of it. You can't go around and picking up like any goblet or plate that you see and selling it at a merchant. It doesn't really work that way. But I was pleasantly surprised to see that I could take this gear. And this is something that my class probably isn't going to be wearing. I'm thinking I'm going to be wanting to go more for like a leather kind of thing, but they let you do what you want. So I'm not certain what kind of pros and cons will be to that. But already my character looks like a total badass just picking up this set that's just sitting here in this ship at the very beginning of the game. And they do leave weapons there for you to choose. I think there were probably weapons as well inside Cold Harbor that I didn't bother to mess with. But I'm definitely interested in using dual-wield swords. So when I saw that I could do that, I was very happy. I had seen people doing it before, but there's just something about doing it yourself, and it's just, I don't know. It's really cool, man. It's that's definitely Elder Scrolls, and I gotta give them kudos for that. Now, some of the animations on the armor and stuff look like they're really flat. Some of the textures don't look that great. It's not the best looking game in the world, but I'm not much of a graphics whore. I am a little bit more now that I've got a gaming rig. That has kind of changed a little bit, which I don't really like that that's happened. But when you spend like $1,000 on a PC, the tendency is to kind of want to push your machine. So the game is very beautiful, but it could look better. But it's very appealing. It does look great. The armor, not so much. Some of the stuff looks like it's just kind of painted on you. Like if you got like a buckle or something across your tunic, it's just kind of pasted on there, guys. It doesn't look like it's really there, like tangibly there. And of course, the first thing I did when I got out of here is I wanted to jump into the water. I'm like, can I swim? Can cats swim? I'm not sure. So the water looks pretty cool, and I was in awe when I got out and I just looked around and I saw how beautiful the lighting was. It is a very good looking game. I'm not going to take that away from it. It's not the best looking game in the world, but for an MMO, it looks really good. Now, as I stated earlier, I do plan on playing this game quite a bit. I hope you guys are interested in that. It always sucks when you want to do something like this and the views aren't there, but I'm going to do it anyway. Even if I'm getting like 60 views, I'm still going to roll out gameplay videos. And I do plan on having at least a first impressions video up within about a week or so. I am not really comfortable with reviews. It's not really my thing. I like to do first impressions usually, and with MMORPGs, they're really hard to review because the game is constantly changing. And that's one of the things that made me upset about the Elder Scrolls. Immediately, people were like, oh, this is garbage, and not a lot of people have taken a second look at it. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play the game. I'm going to shut my mouth so you guys can see the gameplay and you can hear the dialogue and all of that stuff. So the commentary on this video is done. If that's all you were interested in, feel free to close the video. I thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one.
Actually, my guardsmen are all tied up right now. If you're up to it, perhaps you could look into some things for me. Good. I want you to speak with 2 members of the Queen's Court, Advisor Norian and Steward Aminway. They await assistance from the guard, hands I can't spare just now. I see you prioritize well. You'll find him at a warehouse west of here. Be sure to tell him that I sent you. Once you've finished with both of them, report back to me on the town's upper level. Well, what are you waiting for? Hail!
The biggest liar in Tamriel is, they say.
Don't know how Joan and Jode have touched you, but this one feels their pull even now.
Have you ever tasted moon sugar rum? This one's not sharing.
That's a fine weapon you've got there.
Thank the Eight. Quickly, untie us!
Captain Tendil of the 1st Auridon Marines. We were sent here at the behest of Her Royal Majesty, Queen Irene. We walked into a trap. Agents of the Veiled Heritans stripped us of our uniforms and gear and left us here to burn.
We have a stash at the farm near the edge of town. Return them to us. I'll personally see that every last imposter dies screaming for mercy!
Thank you. I'll untie the rest. You get that gear for us.
Any luck?
We'll gear up and patch our wounds. In the meantime, find out who's behind this conspiracy. I'll send one of my best men along with you to help loosen some tongues. Stars guide your steps.
Hail.
I'm staying here till Silsalin is safe again. I'm staying here till Silsalin is safe again.
Father, we have to get you to safety.
Salem is under siege. We must get this madness under control. Can't you smell the smoke? Salem is under attack. I barely got my father out alive. The cannon reeve, almost slain. These brutes may wear the uniforms of the 1st Oridon Marines, but they're imposters. They're agents of the Veiled Heritance, I'm sure of it. Teldur, my father's assistant, is trying to organize a defense. You look capable. We'll be waiting in the barn down the road. Good luck in there.
Are you insane? Can't you see the town is under attack? Did she? How do I know you're not one of the imposters? Fine. Grab that bucket from the well and put out the fires. If you find any villagers, tell them they need to evacuate until it's safe. What are you waiting for? Move like you have a purpose. Refuse to answer an outsider's pointless questions, for one. I'll catch up with you at the barn later.
I'm free, and in your debt.
I thought I was done for.
I can hardly believe it. I'm free.
Get out! Burn it!
I thought I'd never escape. Free at last. I thought I'd never escape.
I can't believe it. Free! The fires are under control thanks to you. We'll be a long time in rebuilding, but your bravery won't be forgotten. Now to more pressing matters. Teldur has betrayed us. Teldur asked Canon Reeve Villano for a word outside. When they didn't return, I went to look for them. I got a glimpse of them heading towards the manor. Teldur was holding a knife to my father's side. Our home, the Canon Reeve's residence. Teldur's quarters are there as well. Please, you must go there quickly. I fear for my father's life. Teldur must answer for his crimes.
Canon Reeve betrayed us. Betrayed us all. I found proof. Canon Reeve Villano, member of the Veiled Heritance, didn't want to... No. Too late for me. Must go.
Fool! You think you can trifle with the Veiled Heritance and live?
Justice is done. I must return to my squad. Farewell.
Your valiant rescue of the first Auridon Marines was well-timed. They've driven off the last of the imposters. What news of the traitor Traitor? Was Canon Reeve Villano injured? My father was a traitor to the crown? Orchestrated an assault on his own people? Why? Why would you do this, father?